lawyer and started her practice in Jermaine Dupri and started working within a label, but in a small independent label. So there really is no one way. I think you just have to be open to opportunities. You have to, meet as many people as you can because you never know where those opportunities are going to come from. Networking is really, really important. And, we can talk more later about what that really means and how you network and mentors. Because how I ended up at USA Track and Field is a testament to networking and Beasley. So both.
We will get to
yes.
Beasley in
both. Yes.
But I do want to touch on something that you talked about, and you said that it took time and you had to keep knocking on doors. And I feel like one of the perceptions of entertainment now is I'm going to graduate law school, I'm going to graduate with my MBA, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to hop right into my role at a record label or NBC Universal or wherever you end up wanting to go. And there's time. You have to pay your dues. And there's things you have to do and steps you have to take to get to being in entertainment. So my question for you is, what gave you that drive to keep knocking on Joel Katz's door? I think we all have knocked on Joel Katz's door once or twice and it's gone unanswered. But what gave you the drive to keep going and say, I'm going to keep reaching out to these attorneys and knocking on Joel Katz's door?
So one of the things you have to ask yourself is, why do you want to do this? And why do you want to practice entertainment law? What's your why? For me, when I attended law school, I started, before law school, when I graduated Morehouse, I was a computer science major. So I was working for a company for a year. Mm-hmm. And so when I, like many students, but when I went to, like many students who attend law school, at least I want to do entertainment. I specifically went to law school to practice entertainment law. No other law. It was, I want to be an entertainment lawyer, so I'm going to law school. What I didn't know was how challenging it would be to make that happen, at least without going out on my own and forming, starting my own firm and then working within the entertainment space, kind of starting at the ground level and building your way up. But to get hired by an entertainment group, I didn't realize how challenging it would be. I thought the way that we've always been trained and kind of thought about school is that you perform well, you do well, and you'll have opportunities. So I was focused on resume building in a sense. I had great summer associate jobs. I didn't understand at the time that, when in law school you hear that federal clerkships are important, just generally. I didn't really know that federal clerkships didn't matter that much for entertainment lawyers, but I thought, heck, look, I'm building my resume and I had an opportunity. So I clerked for a federal judge for a year before I started at Jones Day, but it was bankruptcy, but it was a federal. So I'm thinking I'm checking a box, federal clerkship. And none of those things really mattered at the time because entertainment was unique. It's changed now, but it was really unique in that it was, some of the top lawyers in entertainment, particularly at that time, were not lawyers that graduated from, top law schools that had that pedigree that we were talking about. You think you need to have to land that big job at a big firm. At the time, Alan Grubman was a big name in the business. The firm is still big. Alan is older, but Alan went to Brooklyn Law School. Joe Cass was University of Tennessee. These were not Harvard lawyers. These were not, Ivy League trained lawyers. I mean, it's not to say they weren't smart, but we are taught that, this pedigree matters and you're chasing, pedigree in a sense. And the entertainment business is different. It is about who you know in a lot of instances. You have to be smart. You have to be good. So technically you want to be sound because when that opportunity comes, you have to be ready. It's a different space. Today, it's a little different because I think entertainment business has become more corporate. And whenever whenever an industry becomes more corporate, then, you have to follow the more traditional corporate path to success. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned sometimes it's who you know and what, or opposed to what you know or where you went to school. And so this is a section where we're going to talk about networking. And so one of the biggest questions that I personally get and that I've seen is, how do I find a mentor in entertainment? And I can say more specifically, if you had a 1L come to you, or some student will come up to you and say, I want to be an entertainment lawyer, what do you tell them? What are you looking for in quote unquote a mentee?
Yeah, that's a tough question too, because as I mentioned, I was there, and now that I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
If you're at a certain level of success in the business, I don't care what industry you're in, then more than likely you have so many different obligations, not only family, but client obligations. You're still trying to develop business. You have to, still do quality work. You have to develop business. So you're networking with clients. You're still networking. You never stop networking. And so time is just, you just don't have that much time. So you do have to look at every opportunity. Again, I'll go back to opportunities and persistence. You don't want to bug people, but you do want to be persistent. Mm-hmm. Just because you don't get a response, you don't shut off and say, I'm never going to contact that person again. You just might want to give it a few weeks, a couple of months, and then touch back in, because you may catch them in a downturn, and that's when they answer the phone. Mm-hmm. So you just you got to keep going. You have to know this is really what you want. It's a really, really, really competitive business. So you have to really want it. Yeah. Because you have to have that desire that you want it so badly that you're going to keep doing it. Nobody's going to stop you. Liken it to being like an athlete who, desire to get to the pro is, they train every day, they work hard, no one's going to stop them. And there's no difference here. You have to work hard, you have to learn, you have to be ready, and you just have to keep going. You start early as you can too. When I was in law school, actually before law school, I met my current boss. Okay. You just have to look for opportunities. I met Max Siegel before I went to law school. And when I met Max, he was a successful entertainment lawyer, just happened to be based out of Indianapolis. And he represented Reggie White and some really big name athletes, and he was big in gospel music. And I had him come to speak at our law school, and I kept in touch with him over the years. I'll fast forward to when I was working in entertainment at Greenberg Traurig. I became his lawyer. That's how weird this whole thing was. He was an executive, and he called me to represent him. Then look, fast forward to 2016, when we're having a conversation, and I end up in Indianapolis in an interview the next day for USA Track and Field, and get hired to come in at USA Track and Field to work with him and his team. So that was many, many years of networking and building. And I think it's important to say too that you have to always manage your brand intentionally, because the one thing that Max always said is the way that I handle myself. He never forgot that. You have to be professional at all times. I think this business, sometimes we forget that it's still a professional business. We're still lawyers. So we want to get in the business. It's a sexy industry. We want to go to the parties and we want to hang out. I just chose I chose a certain way. I think there are people in this industry that didn't know that I owned a t-shirt, because if I were at an industry event, if I were out and it was a professional event, I typically had on a jacket. I was dressed the way that I am today. Yeah. Even I might've stood out, but I felt like that was important because I wanted to be perceived as a lawyer. And then if folks met me later and they would see me in a t-shirt, I'm like, well, the weekends, my favorite, t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead. But many folks didn't know that in the industry. So I just think you have to, you got to manage your brand. You have to be prepared. You have to network up and down. It's not just one way. You never know where people are going to end up. I treat everyone with respect. This industry, one day you could be sitting next to someone who, in your law school class, who becomes, who gets a job inside, a Netflix or somewhere. And then when a job opportunity opens, then you kind of in that Rolodex. And I've seen that happen too. Mm-hmm. So.
You mentioned brand management and how you're perceived and having your brand be, kind of what you stand for. Has there been anything that you've seen in the last couple of years, whether it's from a student or a practicing attorney or professional, that you're just like, oh, I don't want to work with him or or that's a bad look, bro. You should not be doing that, or anything that you can enlighten on students and young attorneys. Be like,
it
I've
happens.
seen this before.
Yeah,
Don't.
I mean, it happens. I mean, I think one of the things with, when I was coming up, we didn't have social media. Mm-hmm. So we could fall and make mistakes without those mistakes, and when we fall, being public, mm-hmm. At least not as public. And so we could bump our heads, learn, fall, make those mistakes. Here, today, social media, we're posting everything. And I think when I say manage your brand, you have to think about what you are posting. You don't have to post everything.
Yeah.
Not everything. I mean, I think people are living their lives. It's as if they are in front of a camera 24/7. And you have to keep in mind that employers now will scour social media. And so is there anything on your social media you wouldn't want a potential employer to see? The fact that, you and your boys went on this vacation and you guys are turning up and everything, do they have to see all of that? I mean, that's something I would probably keep here. It doesn't always have to go on. But you have to think about that. Because you don't want to give an employer a reason to move your resume to the no pile. They're looking for reasons to move your resume to no. Because it's so competitive, we have a stack. And when we can move a resume to no pretty quickly, that just takes one more thing off our plate. So you have to be, you just have to be cognizant of all of these things.
Perfect. So everyone's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, it's everywhere. Once you hit post, it can never go away. We're going to go back to networking a little bit and talk about the Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers Association, better known as BESLA. And I even hate calling it an organization because BESLA has turned into a family, and every year we have a family reunion in some remote location. Unfortunately, it's been canceled this year.
Yeah. Well, not canceled. Virtual.
Virtual, not canceled. Virtual. Although I was looking forward to the vacation portion of it.
Yes.
But, yeah. We'll be back next year.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about BESLA and what BESLA has done for you over the years.
BESLA has been really important. Again, it's an organization where, you describe it as family. It is like family. You are networking and interacting with people who look like you. Many of them are really, really successful. You may or may not know that because when you're at BESLA, people are, friendly and they're walking around. If you meet people, you don't know who you're meeting. It's 40 years. This is the 40-year anniversary of BESLA. So it's been around for a long time, the organization. There are lawyers and executives at all levels of our industry who are BESLA members. Mm-hmm. So you never know who you might meet at BESLA. At a mid-year conference, at the annual conference, we put on amazing panels, which gives you the opportunity to network with people, really successful executives in the industry. We touch all over, again, the CEO of USA Track and Field is a BESLA member. Charles King is a BESLA member. And Charles, was one of the top film agents in Hollywood who founded Macro a few years ago. Macro is the production company, film company behind successful films like Fences with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, and Mudbound, Oscar-nominated Mudbound. There was a Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx, the Jury movie. His name slips me right now. So Charles King. And we have lawyers that represent Little Baby, Summer Walker, and Oli Chapa, Rick Ross, some of the top names in the industry, Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, all of these folks, and they're all at BESLA. So what better way to break in, to meet folks in the network than to come join our family?
Absolutely.
And come to one of our family reunions.
Yeah, that's students that are listening, please.
And the thing about BESLA is when those events, people aren't as stressed. So it's an environment where you can meet someone when they're not stressed, they're away from the office. And yet, is it, it's still the same issue that you may have that you may not know. And so you're trying to break in and there are cliques and folks they already know each other because they've been going to visa for 10, 15 years every year. So, so that's a family reunion for them too. But again, same thing that I said earlier, you have to be persistent. We're there and people are open. They want to talk to you and they want to help.
Yeah, because they know why you're there. They know that
they know why you're there. So yeah, absolutely.
And to get into the business.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we're going to take a step back for a second, and I'm going to ask just one personal question. How do you do it all? You're on board of BSLA, you have a family, you work in your own practice, you're also at USA Track and Field, you travel every week. How do you have time to sit here and talk to me for an hour? How do you do it all?
I average about 5 hours of sleep a night.
Okay.
Let's start there. but I mean, it's priorities, management of priorities, time management. What's important. So I may not be able to go out for drinks every weekend because my schedule may not allow it. But, just have to, we do what we want to do. I mean, that's really the answer. I think that's true for almost anything in life. We do what we want to do. And so, this is important to me, so I find a way to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we thank you. So we're about at the last 15-ish minutes. So I'm going to start. If anyone wants to put a question in the chat, we have a couple that I'm going to ask Mr. Woodard here. First question is from Kilrain Poplin. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I apologize. They say, how do you, as a successful lawyer in entertainment and sports, help others who are trying to achieve the same goal as you? And do you have internships/workshops that help up-and-coming lawyers that you are part of?
We do have an internship at USA Track and Field. Each year we hire a fall and a summer intern, extern. We typically have an experience with USA Track and Field is based in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. So we have a relationship with IU Bloomington, which is where I went to law school in Indiana University in Indianapolis. But I've certainly made it a point to try to reach out and open up our pool of candidates to other students. So you have to, kind of stay on our website, stay in the mix. We actually have a young lawyer, third year, working with us now. Mm-hmm. And virtually, we still give her assignments and she's working with us. So yeah, there are opportunities. We do have internships.
All right. Is there anything else that you do outside?
Let me answer her.
Yeah, I was looping that in.
Yeah. What do we look for? So, again, you have to be a solid student. I mean, that's the first. When you're in law school, your main job and your main priority is school and to perform well. Again, because the industry is so competitive, we have to cut off at certain points. We just can't take every resume. We have to set certain standards and say, okay, well, we're looking for a certain GPA, we're looking for certain class rank, and we're flexible. Like I can tell you for sure that Norm Wayne, who's the other lawyer in the office, we are cut from the same cloth. And so we're looking for opportunities where that student that might not have had that opportunity, mm-hmm. but for coming in with us, because we recognize something on their resume, we see something, and we're willing to give them a shot. So you look for people like that too. And so when you find, senior executives and folks that are willing to have that mindset, then you want to latch on to them. Mm-hmm. Because that's exactly how we think. So it's not always about the top student who, is number one in the class. We recognize it's an opportunity to give someone a shot, that if they perform well and they work with us at USA Track and Field or, in entertainment, that they can take that opportunity and hopefully build on it in the future. We're looking for really bright students, or we see something hunger, professional, hard workers. So hard work can make up for a lot of things. So we look for folks that we recognize that they've come from a different place and they work hard. And I'll tell you just have to keep your head down. We want people that are going to, at this point in your career, I know that when you think about entertainment, you want to represent the A-list talent. You want to graduate from law school and represent that top talent and go to the Grammys and sit on the front row. Mm-hmm. That's but what you want to do today at this point in your career when you're young is you want your head down in the books. Period. You want to be the best, develop your technical skills. You want to be the best lawyer that you can be. And if you can find a way to do that without the pressure of developing a business and going out and searching for clients, that's really what you want to do. Now, I think we all think we want to do that right out the gate. But after practicing for 20 years, and it would be an amazing opportunity if you could just work with your head down. Don't worry about client development. Mm-hmm. If you can find that opportunity and just learn, and that's really, and build your skill set. Because when those opportunities come, you just want to be prepared.
Yeah, because they can come at you real fast.
Come at you real fast, and they can come at you real fast. And if you're not prepared, certainly you have to, have your network in place too. Because if you have a client that, demands a certain level of expertise and you don't have it, then you have to be able to pull from your network of resources as well.
Absolutely. Next question is from Justin Ross. How do you continue to be authentically yourself in places where you may be the minority?
So most of my career before joining USA Track and Field, I was in major law firms and they were predominantly white law firms. And so I was a minority. It's tough. I was able to be myself and I was able, I am who I am. At the same time, when things have changed culturally over the last 10 years. So when I was practicing in these large firms, and you're trying to be successful and make it, and you don't see many people that look like you, particularly at the partner level. And the only way that you can be successful in those environments typically is if a partner is feeding you work.
Yeah.
So how do you remain authentic? I think you have to balance that. It means something different to every person, but you have to figure out what works in that particular environment so that you can be successful in that environment, because that environment or that potential, wherever you are at that moment, can just be a stepping stone to the next place. So did I walk into Jones Day, just being my true authentic weekend self? No, I didn't. There was a time and place for that. I was, I am who I am, but I was not. When I was hanging out with my friends and boys on the weekends, I was a totally different person. Yeah. I grew up in Washington, D.C. My parents were not professionals. I was not exposed to this world. I had no exposure. I learned it all on the job in internships when I was at Morehouse and beyond. So who I was as a young kid growing up was totally different who I had to become as a professional inside the building. And that's the way I described it when I was inside the building. And we all know what it's called. We code switch.
Code switching, yeah.
So I was a master code switcher.
You kind of have to be nowadays.
And I think you just have to be dependent. Yeah. I think the entertainment, when you're in entertainment space, or if you're out on your own, then you certainly have more freedoms. But then I go back to what I said earlier, managing your brand, because it's still, you're still a professional. Mm-hmm. So as long as your authentic self is professional, then, then fine.
Next question is from Amara Vaughn. You talk about focusing on experience for your resume, but how does one get out of the seemingly endless cycle of not having extensive experience and as a result, not being given the opportunity to get experience as a law student? Great question.
First, I think you have to open your mind to what experience is. We are here because we want to do entertainment law. I would challenge you to look for opportunities to become a great lawyer. Not just entertainment law, mm-hmm. Technical skills as a lawyer. I don't care where it is. In fact, I will say that you have to be careful when you narrow too soon. And what I mean by that is, unless you are prepared to hang out your shingle and go on your own or go on with a small group and practice entertainment law because you're focused on it and you're dead set on practicing entertainment law, you have to be careful, because when you send a resume to a major firm, and I've seen it on both sides because I've been on both sides. When you send your resume to a major law firm, many of them don't have an entertainment division. So if all they see is I work for such and such boutique entertainment firm, because when you get to your third year, all of a sudden we start thinking about money because we have student loans. So we've summered every summer with a small entertainment law firm doing their producer agreements, working whatever, and we got great experience. And then we get to our third year, we need a job. And now we start sending resumes out. Well, if most law firms don't have an entertainment division. So it's better to have a broad experience. You want to develop your technical skills as a lawyer today. That's what you want. And you're looking for those opportunities wherever you can find them. If you have to volunteer your time, I hate to say that, but you look for those opportunities wherever you can find them. And again, it may not be within the space of entertainment. We're looking for good, sound, technical lawyers. I will share this story, and I'll take this. So we have a paralegal at USA Track and Field, and after working with her for 3 or 4 years, she's one of the best young, when I say young in terms of experience, lawyers or she went to law school, she just took the bar, that I've worked with. But partly that is because she just put her head down. Like, she was focused on doing the work. And she would say, I love reading contracts. You have to love reading contracts. You have to, because what a senior lawyer is looking for is, we're looking for someone who's going to catch things. That we're busy and we're thinking at the top level. We're trying to manage the organization. We're trying to develop business. And we want someone who can handle the paperwork at that level, and we can trust them. Because if I have to review everything and read it from line 1 to page 1 to page 50, then why do I need you? So, you have to recognize where you are in your career, what you can offer a lawyer. And today, that is predominantly your skill set is, we want your head down. Too many young lawyers today want to get out and they want to go hustle and find business too. And so then, I'll be honest with you, because I'm a candid, Reggie, when we first talked, I'm candid. We've, at this point, we've grinded for years to get where we are. And it's taking a lot of, sweat equity, work, just, tirelessly. I'm not looking for someone junior who wants to be me today. I'm not. I understand that you want to be me at some point in the future, but I want someone who's going to work hard today to learn the material and just, have their head down in the books and become the best technical lawyer they can be.
Absolutely. I laugh because that's one of the first things you told me. You told me, don't just focus on purely entertainment. You need to have a wide range of skills to bring to the table to be attractive to these firms. So I hear those sentiments are still true today. We have Chandrea Williams, who said, would you mind addressing the perspective on the topic women in the industry and providing advice to women law students who may also want to embark on a career in the sports industry, which is also considered a male-dominated industry?
Yeah.
Another loaded question.
Right, loaded question. So women check 2 boxes that they have to overcome, obviously, female and minority women. So it is a little more challenging. Male-dominated industry, but again, things are changing, culture is changing. Network, come to Beasley, you'll meet many really successful female lawyers who can talk to you about what they did and how they were successful. The one story I will share is when I first started attending Beasley, and I think, where I would just challenge all of us to be careful, not just women, but all of us to be careful, is that you have to consider and remember that this is, we're still a professional organization. Even as, so when you're out networking at industry events that may be a party event, keep in mind that it's a professional event for us as lawyers. That you can never you never want to forget that. And so you don't want to take your guard down too much in those environments, because we're always being evaluated. Even when you think you're not being evaluated, you are. Again, I'll go back to what Max said. I never knew how he viewed me, but he would share that even to this day. He shared it with other students in front of me. I never knew it. But as a woman, I think, it is a little more challenging because men are, predominantly running the industry, but women are breaking through. And so that's not as true anymore. And they have organizations and that you have to be connected to as well. Beasley, again, is a great organization. That's a great place to start.
Absolutely. I'm going to combine 3 questions from Brianna Cloud and Jasmine Branch. And there was one more. And Erica Saffold, who are talking about location and how location affects your ability to network with clients, go to events, be involved in certain projects. Is there a specific location that you think students should move to? For example, if someone's in Indiana, should they move to Atlanta? Should they move to New York? Should they try and conquer the market that they're in? What's your take on location right now?
Location is important. There's no other way around it. It is important. Because when you talk about networking, part of networking is just, can we just grab a drink? Can we go have a cup of coffee? Mm-hmm. And if you're not in the same city, it's tough to do that. So you then have to rely on, I get emails saying, can we have a Zoom call? I mean, that's fine, because you have to do what you have to do. But yeah, location is important. If you have the means and if you're able to, and if you're able to move to a city that is more entertainment focused and centric, and yes, you'll have more opportunities. It is what it is. I predominantly have practiced within, in Atlanta, and Atlanta is one of the cities that I would have on the list. It's a predominantly music city. I mean, television and film has grown over the last several years. But when I think about Los Angeles, this is the way I'll describe it. There aren't, but for students who want an in-house position, so let me answer it this way. There aren't but so many in-house positions in Atlanta in the entertainment and sports space. So when you look at the Atlanta Falcons and the Braves and whatever the opportunities they might be, they're limited. And lawyers tend to get those jobs and sit in them for years, so they don't become available. There are not many openings. Very different in California. I read posts all the time where such and such has now become a lawyer at wherever. I'm like, wow, if I were in LA, maybe I would have opportunity to get that job, or you have to think about relocating. Yeah. Location matters. It does.
And I will say, even now with COVID, use your opportunities, use the Zoom calls, use the FaceTimes, but
yes,
do make the effort to look into the network and the market that you want to move into.
Location is not quite as important today because of COVID. Because we all have to adjust, and so it's more about phone calls and Zoom calls and other ways of trying to stay connected.
Last question, and we're going to run over a little bit because I feel like this is extremely important. You and I both know the absolutely amazing Shanti Das, who has kind of pioneered this mental health and physical wellness aspect of the entertainment industry. And shout out to Cedric LeBlanc for asking this question. How important is mental health and physical wellness to sustain throughout the industry?
It's important no matter what industry. So, take it out of this industry, just generally, particularly as lawyers. This is a really demanding, time-consuming profession. The profession we all chose. Demanding. Our clients are demanding. Our clients don't think about the fact that we may have a life as well. No, it's, if I want you at midnight, I'll call you at midnight. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes there's an expectation that you answer the phone. So mental health is important. You're right. Shanti Das, her organization is called Silence the Shame. And so the idea is that we talk more about mental health and the importance of mental health. For me, I am, I'm going to go in this direction, but I believe, I'm a believer in God, and my faith is strong. I have, my natural instinct is to worry, but when you have this higher, when you look to a higher being, and then, that helps. Family and friends are important. Real family, real friends, not followers.
Mm-hmm.
Not followers, but get off of, get out in front of your screens. Physical, it's funny because, I work with NLE Choppa, and, there was a tweet recently from Jack Harlow about the Travis Scott meal. And he said, well, because of NLE chakra, he didn't want to buy the, but Choppa was on to something about, where he's now kind of talking about eating well, whole foods, meditation, physical well-being. And it is important for us. I work out, people that know me, I work out at least 5 days a week, at least. And so, whatever I have to do to relieve stress, I do. And one of the things for me is eating well, physical activity, at least, I work out at least an hour every day. I'm involved in all sorts of activity, whether it's boxing, running, whatever. I find different things to do. And then my faith, I try to keep my faith strong. And I have a really good family, and so I stay close to my real family and real friends. This industry, when you're up, everyone is calling you. When you're down, your phone is not ringing. They may not answer your call. Mm-hmm. So you have to be mentally strong and be prepared for that as well. So no, it's important. And whatever that means, I think we have to remove the stigma. What Shanti is doing, we commend, because it's, part of removing the stigma. If you need to visit a therapist, you should visit a therapist. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. Again, this industry is demanding. There will be highs and lows. There will be times when you will struggle. You will struggle to find clients. Clients will not pay your bills. And so you need to figure that out. And we all go through these ups and downs. But it's really, really important. So that's a great question.
Like I said, shout out to Cedric. Great question. And, I think our time is up. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy, busy schedule to talk to us. I know everyone at Southern, from Marla to the Chancellor to all the students that are here, truly, truly appreciate your words of wisdom. And yeah, hope you
My pleasure.
Great, absolutely. Tell your family I said hello. Sure. I haven't seen your daughter in a very, very long time, but we still communicate. So tell her I said hello.
I will. Thanks.
All right.